Hello and welcome to Talk Fútbol, the Madrid-based podcast where every week we take an in-depth look at the issues surrounding Spanish football. My name is Tommy Hay and I'm joined by my friend and colleague and recent YouTube sensation, Kieran Quayle.
Good morning, Tommy. How are you?
Not bad. How was your YouTube debut?
It's good to be back to the bread and butter, but the YouTube feeling is good.
How do you feel being on camera? Because I've done a few things on camera that I won't talk. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? I've been on camera before, like teaching videos, English teaching videos and stuff, and it's really weird the first time somebody points a camera in your face.
It's really weird, yeah. You're just staring at the camera. You're trying to be natural, but it's quite hard when you're just staring into the camera lens. But I did enjoy it, and I cringe when I look back at myself on video, but I think we can only get better.
I think it's the first time you hear yourself back. It's like when you first heard your voice in video in your life, when your mum and dad had the video camera or something, it's a bit like that the first time. But yeah, you were talking about Cucurella, because it was like an Arsenal YouTube channel that you were on. We're going to talk more about that later. We're also going to be talking a little bit about the coronavirus, which is kind of, you think, what's that got to do with anything? But it is actually having a bit of an impact here.
Yeah, Cucurella and the corona. So
the two C's.
Hopefully Cucurella doesn't get corona.
No,
he's been linked with lots of clubs.
You don't want that.
Where the coronavirus does exist.
No. Well, did you see Leganés? There were I think it was 7 cases in Leganés, and it was all inside an evangelical church in Leganés. Okay. I don't know what morals to take from that.
But Braithwaite got a lucky escape from Barcelona.
Maybe he knew something that we didn't when he decided to go. Who knows?
The great Dane.
Anyway, we're going to have a quick review of the weekend's fixtures. So, Real Sociedad on Friday night, they made it 7 home wins in a row in all competitions as they defeated Valladolid 1-0 at the Anoeta. A solid second half performance from La Real and a goal from Adnan Januzaj in the 60th minute was enough to give the victory to Alguacil's side in a match which could maybe have ended with a bigger margin, probably should have ended with a bigger margin between the two teams. A win for La Real moved them up into third temporarily on Friday night because they've since dropped down to 6th because the teams around them have won, but they do still have that game in hand, so they could still go up. Valladolid sit right where they were in 15th. They're kind of annoying that way, aren't they?
They're sitting there all season, just haven't budged.
Like Spanish people in a bar in Dublin. Valladolid's win over Espanyol last week looks all the more important now after Eibar, who are hot on their heels, secured an important 3-0 home win against Levante. We were very impressed with this one. It's the first of 3 home games in 10 days for Eibar, and a quick look at the run-in will tell you how important it is for them to take as many points as they can in the remaining matches at home at the Ipurua. 2 of Eibar's 3 goals came from Charles Diaz, cracking name that, Charles. Not Charles, not Carlos, not Carlos, Charles.
Charles, yeah.
Charles Diaz, either side of half-time. And there was a third from Orellana. Real Betis' terrible away form continued on Sunday afternoon as they lost 2-1 to Valencia at the Mestalla. Kevin Gameiro had a contender with the goal of the weekend, cracking goal went off the post, and Dani Parejo also scored for the home side in the second half before Loren Moron pulled a consolation goal back for Betis. It's been a bit of an up and down season for Betis, and the calls for a change in management that we heard at the beginning of the season have come back, they've resurfaced, and they've been given added voice. Partly because of Betis' poor run of form since midway through January, and partly because the sporting director Alexis Trujillo he's given a less than glowing evaluation of Ruby on a radio show earlier on this week. So we're going to talk a bit more about that later. Leganés came back from 1-0 down to salvage a point at home to Alaves at the Butarque. Former Leganés manager Asier Garitano's Alaves took the lead early on in the second half, but their lead was cancelled out by Guido Carrillo 12 minutes later. That's his first goal this season, which is kind of unbelievable, but there you go. The visitor missed 2 late opportunities to take all 3 points, the latter of which from Ruben Duarte would undoubtedly have been the goal of the season contender. Left foot volley from not the best cross, but yeah. Did you see that one?
Beautiful.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And Leganés remain in 19th place, 5 points from safety, while Alaves move above Real Betis and into 13th, and suddenly things aren't looking so bad for them. Granada and Celta Vigo played out the weekend's only 0-0 draw. Both teams had plenty of chances in this one. The closest either team came to scoring undoubtedly was Antonio Puerta's header late on, which came off both posts before being cleared by Nestor Araujo. Celta stay in 17th position, but they do increase the gap between themselves and Mallorca to 3 points. and they've also got a superior goal difference. Granada, meanwhile, stay in 9th, despite Athletic Bilbao's win over Villarreal. Sevilla ended Jornada 26 of La Liga in 3rd place after a thriller at the Sanchez Pizjuan, which saw them defeat Osasuna 3-2. 10-man Osasuna did incredibly well to come back from 2-0 down to equalise in the 74th minute through a Roberto Torres penalty, only to have their hearts broken in the 93rd minute by Yusuf En-Nesyri. I believe I've got my pronunciation right there.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you. That's Osasuna's 4th loss in the last 5 games. They currently sit in 12th on 31 points, and they are missing Chimi Avila. It's kind of obvious, no?
Big time, yeah, he's a big loss.
Big loss. Raul Garcia penalty in the 56th minute was enough to give Athletic Bilbao the first league win of the year. Despite the success in La Copa del Rey, Gasca Garitano's side had gone 10 games without a win in La Liga. They had gone 10 games without a win, but Sunday's 1-0 victory over Villarreal finally put an end to that drought. Athletic actually had 2 penalties in this game. The second one was missed by Iñaki Williams, and Villarreal's defeat means that they dropped to 8th following Valencia's victory over Betis. Bilbao move up into 10th, and a win for them will provide some confidence ahead of the Copa del Rey semi-final second leg against Granada on Thursday. Espanyol put in a spirited performance against Atletico Madrid on Sunday afternoon. Raul de Tomas was back, and that was welcome news for Espanyol, who really missed the star striker against Valladolid last weekend. De Tomas was instrumental as Espanyol took the lead through a Stefan Savic own goal in 23 minutes, but the home side lead was cancelled out in the second half by an incredible Saul Niguez's volley on the 47th in the 47th minute. That was goal of the weekend, I think, one of the goals of the season. Morata hit the post from close range later on in the match, but ended 1 each. Atletico drop into 5th, while Espanyol stay rooted to the bottom of the table. The penultimate game of the weekend saw Getafe earn a hard-fought victory against Osasuna. The single goal by Nemanja Maksimovic, was my pronunciation alright for that one?
Beautiful again, Tommy. You're on fire.
I'm practicing my Serbian. Was the only difference between the two sides. Getafe move up into 4th, while Mallorca remain in the bottom 3. They're 4 points from safety. And they'll also be without the key man Salva Sevilla, because he managed to get himself sent off despite the fact that he'd already been substituted. So they got a red card without going down to 10 men. He won't be there for that Eibar game, which is a big one, because it's away from home and they really need the 3 points. Real Madrid versus Barcelona. This leads us on to the weekend's highlight fixture, by a long way, at least on paper. El Clásico on Sunday night, and we might as well start there. What did you make of this game?
I thought it was a good game. Maybe lacked quality at times throughout. There was plenty of chances from either side, and at half time it was 0-0, but it didn't really feel like it should have been 0-0. There was some good saves, but also some good opportunities that maybe on other days those players would have taken. For over the 90 minutes I thought it was end to end. Both sides were in it. Barca had the majority of the chances in the first half. Courtois was brilliant again, and he's been brilliant for most of the season. And then the second half, Madrid upped it. They had more chances, and they won through goals from Vinicius Junior and Mariano, 2 unlikely heroes. But when Benzema isn't scoring, he's been on somewhat of a drought recently. I suppose the younger players who've been given the chance have to come up with the goods, and they did.
Well, they've had a lot of goals coming from midfield this season, Madrid, because they have really only been playing with one striker most of the time, which has required more goals from midfield.
Yeah.
But it was kind of good to see. It was good to see an end product there from Vinicius, because he's been getting a lot of stick for that all season.
Yeah, exactly, and he's been getting chances, playing in Zidane's team. Zidane obviously trusts him, and it's all about confidence at Real Madrid. Like, the fans will get in your back quite quickly if you don't produce. But if you keep trying, eventually, like when you keep knocking on the door, eventually it's going to go in. And he was fortuitous; it deflected off Piqué. But I mean, he's making these chances, so eventually they're going to go in. And they happened to go in against Barcelona in the biggest game in world football, possibly. So he was the hero. Only 19 and. Yeah, 19 years, 7 months and 18 days. So he surpassed Messi as the youngest La Liga Clásico goal scorer of the 21st century. Wow. So he was...
Andrew Fati's still got a year or two to catch him up, though.
Yeah, exactly. Fati was... I think he was actually the youngest player to play in the Bernabeu, in the Clásico in the Bernabeu. He was only 17.
He's broken, I want to say 6 records this season, possibly.
Yeah, more. Goals in the Champions League, goals in the Liga. But it was exciting going to watch the game. I didn't go to the stadium, but I watched it in a bar in Madrid, because it was one of those game weeks in La Liga where you look at the fixtures and you're just like unimpressed. I was just looking through them from Friday right through to Sunday. It was like nothing really standing out. Maybe Valencia, Betis, two big clubs, but apart from that, like, I wasn't too enthused about watching much La Liga. Obviously, you tune in and you check the scores and you watch the games that you can, but it was kind of, everybody was waiting for 9 o'clock Sunday night for the big one. It was a horrible night in Madrid, though. They actually gave out ponchos to the Madrid fans because Florentino's pumping his money into Real Madrid. That's Florentino Perez, the club president. They're basically doing up the stadium, spending €1 billion, but on one of the tiers, there's no roof, there's no cover, so they were handing out these white ponchos to the Madrid fans. So it must have been a tough first half in the rain, where Barcelona came and dominated, but they got the 3 points, and they were crucial. Those 3 points were crucial because if Barcelona won that game, they were 5 points ahead. So it's now 1 point ahead for Madrid. They're in control, but it's so close and there's still so long to go. But that's what you want, isn't it? Like, you want to run in.
You want it to be neck and neck, not like the English league.
Exactly.
It's been one since November. You know what I mean? So it's good. Part of the reason you predicted Madrid to win last week was because they just had to.
Exactly.
And it seems to be when they have to win, they do.
They got over the line, and it was Zidane looking at the defence again. Like, he basically said after the game, he said that I'm happy for Vinicius for the effort he made, not just with the ball, but he worked hard defensively too. So Zidane's been drilling his side all season, like, we need to keep tight at the back, and he's been focusing on the defence more so because they've only got Benzema up front. I mean, they spent €60 million in Jovic, but he hasn't got a sniff. He hasn't been in the team, so he's been relying on goals from elsewhere. Hazard's been injured. He's going for an operation in the USA next week. So they have been short on goals compared to Barcelona. Their goal difference is the exact same as Barcelona, though. It's plus 31 because they've been so strong defensively. They've only conceded 17 goals in 26 games. So they've really worked on the defence. And I suppose if you work on the defence and you build a platform, you're going to score goals. So you're going to get results. It's a bit like what Atletico do. They base themselves on getting clean sheets or keeping it to one goal, and then they'll try and nick a goal. And it's strange to see a Real Madrid side operate like that, but that's what they've had to do this season. And Bale hasn't scored many, but they've got goals from elsewhere. Not huge numbers, but if players like Modric and Kroos have been chipping in. Rodrigo, Casemiro, he got a brace against Sevilla. But it definitely wasn't a Clásico.
But what did you make of that? Kind of leads us on to Piqué's comments, because Piqué came out in the press conference afterwards and said it was a below par. Madrid said it one of the worst Madrid sides he's ever played against, or, at least in the first half.
Exactly. Yeah, he said it was one of the worst Madrid sides I faced at the Santiago Bernabeu in the first half, because they have a phenomenal record there. So Piqué's used to going there. Previously, a year ago, he said we come here and it's getting too easy to win here. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. Like, he says what he wants, Piqué. He doesn't have many friends in Madrid.
We call him here futbolista troll. The trolling footballer.
Yeah, he's a smart guy, and he isn't afraid to express his opinion. But so he was basically referring to a really bad Madrid side in the first half, and he said we all have problems. We aren't doing that well either, referring to his own team who aren't going that well. But we missed an opportunity to hurt them, is what he finished with. So he's referring to those chances in the first half with Arthur, 1-on-1 with Courtois. And then Courtois came out after the game and he's like, I made 2 amazing saves. So Courtois has no qualms about admitting how good of a keeper he is this season. He's been brilliant.
He's been brilliant since that Bruges game.
Yeah.
Way back. It was like, is he going to be substituted? Why don't we bring back Keylor Navas? And then great for him to come back like that, because you feel sorry for goalkeepers when it's not going well for them. It's a very difficult job.
It's a tough job to do. But in saying that, if they do go on to win the league, that Madrid team, like, it's by no means flattering. It's gonna go right down to the wire. I think Barcelona will push them. The reason I predicted Barcelona at the start of the season was down to their attacking prowess. Like, they're just so good going forward, but they're wobbly at the back, and they're just not performing as probably most of us expected them to. And Madrid definitely are performing better than most people expected them to after a nightmare season last season and a nightmare summer window. So Zidane's gone back to basics. Done a great job, but it's still all to play for.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about Barca before moving on to another topic. Sarabia has been in the news, the assistant coach, the victim of the dreaded Spanish lip read, because they're very big on that here. He was pictured on the bench desatado, they say, like unchained, unhinged, you know, on the bench.
Yeah.
Is this, how much of a story is this, and how much is it just the Madrid press trying to meter mierda, trying to cause problems, or exaggerate how bad Barca are going?
I think that's it. Somebody probably got a glimpse of Sarabia going mental on the sideline and said we can make a few stories from this. The fact that he's not covering his mouth. So we've seen different videos across the internet, and it's basically him shouting at different players. But it's normal. It's like what Simeone does every week. But you know, you're not just taking it and making subtitles out of it. It's him shouting, "Come on, we can do better," or some attacking analysis and defensive analysis to his number one. Setien. He's been working with Setien at Las Palmas and also at Real Betis. He's only 39, Sarabia. Doesn't have a big profile in Spain, but he does in the coaching perspective, and he's a up and coming young coach. But I think he's just really passionate. And if you look at him on the sideline, he's basically sitting shouting, "Fuck." He's giving out, and it's basically we need to press, we need to tighten up. Like there's too much space between the gaps. Like normal chat on the sideline. You're playing in the biggest match of the year. You could win and you could go on to win the league. Like there's a lot to play for. Setien's just in the job. There's huge pressure there at Barcelona to perform. You know, like his job is on the line. If Setien gets sacked, he loses his job at arguably one of the biggest clubs in the world. So he's every right to be passionate. And yeah, it's nonsense, really.
Do you think part of the issue of that, or what they're trying to get at there, the feeling they're trying to create, is the fact that this guy is 39 years old? He's fairly unknown.
Yeah.
If you look him up at Wikipedia, you're not going to find too much.
Exactly. You know, he doesn't even have a Wikipedia profile.
Profile. So I mean, this guy coming off the bench and shouting at Leo Messi. He's not shouting at Leo Messi, but he does call over to him. He wants him to change something.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what they're trying to get at?
100%.
How dare this guy?
Yeah. Here we go. Look at the player power of Barcelona, and why is he giving it to the stars? But somebody has to control these stars, and he's the number 2 at Barcelona. And then this morning we've seen news come out of Catalonia, basically saying that the club's going to speak to him. That they'd rather he did this in the dressing room, which is complete and utter nonsense. Like you're going to express yourself on the touchline. You have 90 minutes to get messages across. A lot of coaches take the other approach. They'll do all the ranting and raving before the game and at halftime and during the week on the training pitch. But you see a lot of it in Spain. A lot of it happens on the sideline where they're hyped. You know, it's a huge match, and you're going to be up for these. He's an up and coming coach as well. He's trying to make a name for himself, and of course he respects Messi, he respects Griezmann, but he's gonna have a go at them if they need to change roles or change position on the pitch. If something's not working, you're going to change it. Setien seems like the more relaxed of the two. He is the head coach.
He's the one that's sitting behind.
He's sitting behind, yeah. But he's a technician. Like he plays off the Johan Cruyff model. They know what he wants. He wants possession based football. But Madrid didn't give them a minute. They pressed really high. Put them under that pressure, because when you see Setien's possession stats, they're like 70%, 72%. So if you're playing against that, you're not going to sit back because you'll never get the ball. So Madrid were pretty good on the press.
I think they would have probably just watched what happened with Napoli last week, and I mean it was a 1-1 draw. But the first half performance by Barca was 70% possession. Yeah, it was 488 passes in the first half.
They sat off them.
No goals, no shots on target.
Yeah.
And they went in. You know, Napoli obviously got the first goal, so they watched that, and you can figure out how to play teams. The one of the things about the Setien thing is the main question is he adapting with his own style, or is he like just a fan of the Guardiola tiki-taka kind of style and Cruyffism, if you go further back, and wanting to replicate that, or is he bringing his own touch to it? It's kind of it's a bit too early to tell if he's going to evolve. But the obvious criticism when you watch this team is that, like, well, it's just like a tribute act, and that's what the press seem to be getting at. That's what a lot of fans feel.
Yeah.
But we'll see what it is. I mean, I think you're right. I think Barca will make it. They won't make it easy for Madrid.
No.
Still fancy Madrid to win the league.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they do look more consistent and solid out of the two, like on the field and off the field. And Setien's only coming in. Zidane has won a lot at Real Madrid, so he knows how to get over the line. But I think Zidane really wants the league this year. He's won 3 Champions Leagues. He wouldn't say no to another one, but they'll do really well to beat Man City without Sergio Ramos. They're 2-1 down as well. Yeah. So that they've got it all to play for when they go to England. But yeah, it should be good. I think Setien was at Man City Madrid game,
Alright.
watching Madrid before the Clásico, and Pep Guardiola got word of it and invited him for a drink after. So I think Pep is a fan of Setien, and likewise they play the same football, same beliefs, you know. But you'd love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
Yeah, or conversation between Bielsa and I think Bielsa and Guardiola. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Well, Bielsa and he's one of the guys that's been linked with the Betis job.
Yeah.
So like, I'm talking about this for a second.
Yeah.
Betis have not been good since the turn of the year. It was the 19th of January, my memory serves me correct, that was their last win in La Liga, and they've really been kind of suffering since then. They had a very bad start to the season. They kind of pulled it back together. It was the end of October. It was like 30th of October, the day before Halloween. This was the famous game against Betis, where it thought between him and Escribá, the manager that loses is out.
Yeah.
Escribá lost and Uruguay stayed. Then they had a bit of a comeback, and it led to people saying, Joaquin's been good this season, and it led to people saying, well, that's them, they're sorted again. Since the turn of the new year, it's kind of fallen back the way it was at the start of the season, and now there are calls for a new manager, either in the summer or possibly immediately.
Yeah.
And how much, we don't know at this stage, but how much this is going to snowball, is kind of, it could go one or two ways. It could just be like, well, we're not going to get anything this season, wait till the summer, or act now. And the sporting director of Betis has not been helping with this, at least from Ruby's point of view, because he's been on the radio, basically not talking shit about him, but he's not been given a glowing review.
No.
About Ruby. He said that nobody is expendable. Nobody is unexpendable. Nobody is
irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable. That's what imprescindible in Spanish.
That's the one. Beautiful.
Nobody is. Thank you. No, much better than my Serbian. But nobody's irreplaceable at Betis, and that's the kind of, it doesn't really look particularly good for him. What do you think about the possibility of Pellegrini coming in? I
think he's a great manager. I'm a big fan of Pellegrini.
He's
done really well in Spain.
Named,
he's 66 and he left West Ham in December, so he's been out of work for a couple of months. But he's good record in Spain, like with Real Madrid, Villarreal and Malaga. He had Villarreal in the Champions League semi-finals, playing some unbelievable football with Riquelme and Cazorla. So I like his style. Bielsa's also linked, but Bielsa's obviously got his eyes fixed on promotion with Leeds at the moment. That's his second season there in Leeds, so he'll be definitely looking at promotion. But if they don't get promoted, Bielsa generally doesn't last long at clubs. He falls out with people very, very easily, players and board directors alike. So I think he'd be a welcome addition. Of course, people love his philosophy on football, his style. There was that great story of Bielsa bringing Athletic Club to the Nou Camp, getting beat 3-0 by Barcelona, goes for a glass of wine with Pep after the game, and Pep said to him after the conversation, "You know more about my players and my team than I do."
It's true.
So he's just an absolute beast. Like he's obsessed. He's totally obsessed. He lives in a single bedroom above a shop in Leeds. The most humble man.
He walks to the training ground.
Yeah,
he's like the Pope Francis of football,
and supposedly carries like a plastic bag with like sandwiches and stuff. He's just the most humble.
Yeah, he goes to
the humble guy.
He goes to a supermarket.
Morrison's, is it?
Morrison's or something.
Yeah, he's been spotted in Morrison's. There's several pictures online of him shopping for Bovril and stuff. Those cold Yorkshire mornings.
Yeah. So
you gotta love him.
Yeah, I think he would be a perfect fit for Betis. But I think if Leeds don't go up, I think we can start talking about it. I think if Leeds
he's on the brink of his biggest ever managerial feat. Leeds have been in the third and second division of English football for 15 years. They're a huge club.
Yeah.
If he gets them back to the Premier League, and you look at his CV, he hasn't won much.
Yeah,
like
an Olympic medal.
Yeah,
he's got to a few finals. And
this will be like, even though he's in his 60s, this will be the biggest thing. So he's definitely not going to be worried about Betis. But if that came up in the summer, Betis, another massive club, similar to Leeds, like big profile, like get 40,000 plus every game. Living in Spain, he's been with Bilbao. He had a short stint at Espanyol in '98 as well. So he's well used to Spain.
It's weird that it never worked out for him at Lille, isn't it?
Yeah,
he went there and it just kind of he's kind of been alright everywhere.
Where was his 2-day spell? He had like a 2-day spell.
Oh yeah.
Was it in France or in Italy? I think
it was. Was it Lazio maybe?
Okay, we're gonna have a quick.
We're gonna have a quick
search.
Thing. Yeah, so he turned up to a place and then.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, Lazio. You're right.
Yeah, it was Lazio. Yeah.
So he's only in the job 2 days. He quit Lazio on the Friday, having joined on the Wednesday.
I know a guy that did that, and I used to work in Lidl when I was at university, right? And there was a guy that walked into a Lidl in a place called Maryhill in Glasgow. And he went on to work for me, but it was his first day. He went for the job interview, walked in, took one look around and went, no.
Bielsa style.
So Bielsa did that kind of a sort of slightly larger scale, different context, but it was like obviously something wasn't going right there. I don't know enough about the situation, but yeah, you can read about that at home.
Yeah, there's plenty of articles online about it, but generally he doesn't last that long. So yeah, we'll see if he goes. Ruby's been under pressure since he took over. So, but Betis shouldn't be in 14th. They're much better than that.
Yeah, they are, absolutely. A team who is punching above their weight though would be Getafe, but they look maybe like they're set to lose a few players. Go back to your YouTube appearance. You were talking about Cucurella. What do we know about this? He's been linked with Arsenal, basically.
Yeah, he's been linked with Arsenal. He's been linked with Atletico Madrid. He's been linked to Sevilla as well. So several clubs here. Mainly because of his form, but I mean Getafe as a whole have been brilliant, and they've been linked. Their players have been linked with several teams. Even their manager Bordalas has been linked with several teams as well. Cucurella is 21. He's a product of the Barcelona Youth Academy, so he grew up as like a left back, and they've turned him into a left winger at Getafe. But in saying that, he did play as a left winger for Eibar as well. He was out on loan to Eibar last season. He actually scored against his parent club Barcelona. That was his only goal for Eibar. He scored 1 goal this season at Getafe, and he's assisted 5 in the league, and he's also played 7 times in the Europa League for them as well. So he's gaining a lot of experience, but still a very young player and has a lot to improve. He's quite light. He's really fast. He's like a young Ryan Giggs, to give him a big compliment. He kind of reminds me of Giggs. I don't know if it's the curly, black hairiness, but he's very quick and great left foot as well. And I really like watching him play. He's really gelled at Getafe, and they know how to use him because they play with 2 big men, and he's able to get balls into the box quite quickly. So yeah, his stats are really good this season. I'm not surprised clubs are interested in him. The plan at Getafe is to sign him for 4 years in the summer. He's currently on loan from Barcelona.
From Barca,
So Getafe will get 60% of the players' rights, and then Barcelona will have 40%. So they'll have a potential buyback option in the future. But I think he's got a big career ahead of him. He's played for Spain the whole way up from under 16 level to under 21. The fact that he's versatile, like he's still really good defensively because he was a left back in his youth until a couple of years ago. But yeah, I'm actually surprised Barcelona don't want him back. With most of their defensive problems, and they've such a light squad as well at the moment. So I think a lot of Barca fans will be thinking this guy's better than Firpo. And he'd be a very good.
And he could slot into that again.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be a very good backup player for Alba, But I think he's doing the right thing. Like he's getting the league experience. Full season at Eibar last season. Full season at Getafe. If he stays fit this season, that's 2 really, really important seasons at a crucial stage of his career. So I still think it's too early for him to go to Arsenal. The release clause will be 25 million, but he still hasn't done enough, to worthy a massive move, in my opinion. I still think he needs a couple more years, to really take it to the next level. But he's getting good European experience. Like Getafe are playing Inter Milan in a game behind closed doors, the 19th of this month of March, and so he's getting a lot of experience there on European level as well, and that's where he'll really be shown his worth.
I think probably the biggest strength, you touched on it earlier, is the versatility of him. He seems quite kind of pliable. That probably comes from the fact that he came through La Masia, and then he's had to adapt into this thing which is like the opposite, which is Getafe style.
100%
under Bordalas. He does foul quite a lot as well. I don't have the stats to hand, but he does foul a fair bit.
He does.
I don't know if that's just because he's playing for Getafe, or if it's because that's part of his game as well. I think it's probably the former.
Yeah,
I think it's probably the fact that he's
part of his game, but Getafe also press really aggressively. Like they press really high, so their plan is win the ball back in the other team's half. So he'll push high and recover the ball, and
get it
with the idea of getting it back in. So his recovery stats are really good. So he's got that aggression about him as well, but he's also got the flair. So that's what I'm saying. He can play left back, left wing back, left wing, that whole left side He's got the engine and the work rate as well to do it. So he's been brilliant this season and definitely a player worth keeping an eye on.
Very good. Well, another game being played behind closed doors will be Valencia versus Atalanta. They've also got to come back from 4-1. You were saying that that people were saying that they're going to be was it an advantage or a disadvantage because was Atalanta going to be a disadvantage because they don't have fans?
It's going to be a disadvantage for Valencia because Atalanta had fans and Valencia don't have fans at Mestalla.
Right, okay.
So that's what some fans are giving out a bit, but I think at 4-1 they're going to be doing well with or without fans to come back from that result.
Quite a deluded point of view. Like whatever way you look at it, if they're at an advantage or a disadvantage, it's like nobody's at an advantage. There are no fans, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Celades said that after the 4-1 defeat that it was an unfair defeat. How was it an unfair defeat?
Yeah, Atalanta play an attacking style, but as we said in the podcast, like you need to go and be careful and be aware of that style. Valencia weren't. They were totally open. They were terrible at the back, and then they waited too late to try and get some goals back. Denis Cheryshev scored a I haven't practiced my Ukrainian or Russian. Is he Russian or Ukrainian?
He's Ukrainian, I think.
Yeah.
Same shit.
Haven't practiced that in a while. Denis Cheryshev scored to give them a glimmer of hope. I don't see Valencia doing it.
No, not at all. I don't think it was an unfair result at all. But I mean, Atalanta are one of these teams that just come out and try and score more goals than you, and it's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
But Valencia tried to adopt the same style, and they abandoned everything that they'd been doing earlier on the season in these great away performances away at Chelsea and Ajax,
nicking them 1-0.
Just went out the window, really, and it was like 4 goals. It just absolutely bombarded. And when the fourth one goes in, it's like if they'd nicked the second one back, you'd maybe be like, okay,
yeah. But the fact that Atalanta are so strong going forward, I see them scoring, and that's it. Tie over then.
Probably gonna score.
But sorry, Denis Cheryshev is Russian. Yeah, Russian.
So
29-year-old Russian. Played for Sporting Gijón as well in his youth career. So
there you go.
And then Real Madrid for 7 seasons as well. So yeah, he's Russian. Sorry, Denis.
Yeah.
You're not Ukrainian.
I don't think they really mind if you get them confused in that part of the world, do they?
Probably not as bad as us.
No, I think they're a bit touchy about that.
Yeah.
God knows why, but yeah. We'll remind you all why the game's going to be played behind closed doors because of the coronavirus.
Which if you've been living under a rock.
Yeah.
For the last couple of weeks, but yeah, there was a death confirmed in Valencia yesterday, and a couple of journalists were reported to have the virus as well. So it's not only that though; it's the Italians coming over. 2,400 Atalanta supporters were expected to come, so that's not going to happen now. And originally, one of the journalists who went to cover Valencia in Milan for the first leg against Atalanta came back with the virus. He carried it back with him to Valencia, so that's why that's off. And then they're expecting Barcelona and Napoli to be called off as well because they don't want people from Napoli coming over with the virus.
It's a bit racist, isn't it?
Slightly racist, isn't
it? Are you worried?
Yeah, I'm expecting that one to be called off.
Are you worried about just on a personal level, are you worried about the coronavirus?
Personally, I'm not.
Why?
Because it's a flu.
Yep.
I'm not 85 and I think I'm relatively healthy and I wash my hands, so
yeah.
I'm hoping for the best. I mean, it's still early days, but they're saying in Spain that it's going to peak around late March, and then with the good weather coming in here, that'll help.
And the southern hemisphere are going to get pure rid by it.
Yeah,
it's going to be like really like
it's going to head down there. Yeah, there's a proper spread. But if you look at SARS, that was 2002 to 2004. It was 700 deaths. So I think like the media is playing a massive role in scaring people here, and there's lots of fear. Yeah. Are you scared?
No, like generally not at all. I mean, like it's like you think of people or like when you talk to people, the people that have common sense are like, well, compare it to the flu. How many people does the flu kill every year?
That's it.
There's more. You know, it's like
you don't hear death by flu.
No,
but you'll hear death by coronavirus.
It's why people get the flu jabs and stuff. I mean, I think it is actually SARS. That a mate of mine was telling me the other day that it is like a form of SARS. It's like called
animal.
It's like it's called COR-19 or something like that. COR-19 like for the year.
Yeah.
So it's again a form of SARS, but it's like SARS was like worse. like the one in 0204 kind of thing. It's weird to see how it's affecting sport because the rugby was cancelled, the Ireland v Italy was cancelled and stuff like that. So
plenty of big events this year. Like you've got the Olympics as well.
Yeah,
it's under threat, and then you've got the Euros in June. Like lots of movement for the Euros.
Which
13
is
countries.
The worst year to debut this idea of like not having a fixed place.
Yeah,
it would be bad already, but it's like
now all the movement. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. But hopefully it's gone by then, and we can continue with our podcasts.
Yeah. Well, if the coronavirus hasn't got us by next week, we will. We will be back in my Madrid flat to record this. But yeah, I mean, I'm feeling all right. I think.
I think we should. We're not showing too many signs.
No, I don't know. I had to blow my nose earlier. It might have just been a general kind of.
So if you have symptoms in Madrid and you call 112, they'll come to you. Seriously, they'll come to you. Yeah. They don't want you going to the hospital because they can't deal with the numbers, and supposedly they'll have a result for you in 6 hours. So,
in Edinburgh, they've got a drive-through.
Really?
Yeah, you go through and you like spit in a cup. No joke. You like spit in a cup and then just keep driving away, and then you leave your address somewhere. I don't know how. I don't know if they can find your address through your spit, but yeah, they just will call you and say like, You're fine.
Too much iron brew in your system.
Yeah, you're fine and you're fucked. Well, I don't know. The coronavirus is pretty low in Scotland. I think there's 1 or 2 cases.
A couple of those cases in Ireland. The woman came from Italy as well.
Need some more iron brew.
Yeah, that's it. Not enough.
Iron brew gets you through.
There you go.
That's the slogan. Okay, well, we'd like to thank you for joining us here, and we'll hopefully, avoiding the coronavirus, see you again next week at the same time. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Hasta luego.
Adios.